Welcome to Andy and Ari On3. Happy Monday. Big week coming up. We've got Big Ten Media Days. Ari and I will be in Las Vegas. We've got ACC Media Days. We've got the American Media Days, and we'll explain why I said it just like that in a minute. But today, our annual quarterback fantasy draft. This is Ari's first time competing in the quarterback fantasy draft. We got our guy Jamie Cornwit on Twitter who keeps score. Ari, I was looking through my board, or I was making my board for this draft. Can I make a media prediction for this year?
Sure.
In the first week of October, there were going to be so many stories about how all the defenses stink.
I think
there's so many better quarterbacks than going into this time last year.
Yeah, and defenses for the most part are still at a disadvantage from a rule standpoint. And then you add in a lot of really, really good talent. And, on top of it too, Andy, it's a very good wide receiver year, which also makes it more difficult. So, when you think about the sophomores that are going to be here and some of the big teams, I think that guys like Trevor Pena get overlooked. But there's a lot of very effective wideouts that are going to make things
right.
difficult.
Trevor Pena probably makes Drew Aller's numbers go up.
Right. So I'm super excited about doing this quarterback draft because, people who listen to the show are probably going to hear some of the same names that, we've gone through in the past, but, maybe some new ones too. It's a new way to, we're basically measuring projected production, not just who's the best with their eyes. Right.
Yeah. And there's some gambling involved here because you're going to have to pick guys that you think are going to be the starter, but then might not, or some young guys that are going to be first-time starters that maybe they get benched. We just don't know. And obviously, nobody wants anybody to get hurt, but there will be injuries. So you have to worry about that as well. It's a great exercise though, to get you ready for the season. And it gets me even more excited for the season when I look through all of the projected starting quarterbacks for this year, because I just feel like there's so many guys that could put up huge numbers. There's more experience this year than last year, it seems like, or more experienced guys in places where they're going to produce than last year, where there was a lot more unknown. But the flip side of that is the best rosters, for the most part, the teams we think are going to be national title competitors, weirdly, almost all of them have new quarterbacks.
Yeah. So why don't you go through the rules, because I think the rules are going to help shape how we go about this. And
before we get to the rules, a little bit of news this Monday morning.
Oh, yeah.
The American Conference rebranding. I didn't notice I didn't say American Athletic Conference. It's not that anymore. It's American Conference or the American, and that's it. And they got a mascot now, Soar the Eagle. Look, that's a tough looking mascot. I like that.
I think that this branding goes quite well with the vibe of the country right now.
Oh yeah.
America.
Soar's
America,
a basketball player with the tights under the shorts.
Yeah.
Soar's got some swag. He's got the one sleeve on one arm. Oh, so here's what I'm hoping for Soar the Eagle, because I believe this is the first mascot for a conference. Because I don't think the SEC, the ACC don't have one. The Big Ten would never have one. I really hope, because I was looking at Blooper, the Atlanta Braves mascot.
Mm-hmm.
Blooper's very sassy on social media. Can we get sassy Soar on social media? I think that would help the conference.
So the Eagles knew, right?
The Eagles knew. They've never had nobody's ever had a mascot for a conference that I can think of.
Do you know what is good about good branding? Is when you unveil something and it seems natural, or it might have already existed somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, wait, didn't they already have this? Yeah, this actually fits. This is not one of those where you see it and you're like, why'd you do this? Or you spent this much money and all you did was change the font a little bit. No, this makes sense. And also, people would call the American Athletic Conference the AAC. I don't think most people know what that is.
And the
American sounds
like some government agency to me, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. The American sounds good. So now it's up to them. They need to put a team in the playoff. They need to put one of their champion in the playoff. That's Tulane, Memphis, Navy, Army. One of those teams needs to make the playoff. But that will help reinforce all of this new branding if that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, what were we, 2 or 3 years removed from it being the strongest, deepest G5 conference in the country?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that realignment kind of changes the landscape on those things a little bit, but like, they do have some squads in there that are in the picture. Tulane is very much in the picture. So Memphis, I think, is a team that you could get excited about going into this year. They've got some squads.
Well, one of their quarterbacks, maybe, it depends, might wind up on our QB fantasy team because let's go over the rules. At least one G5 quarterback out of your 10. That is a rule. The scoring system, you get 1 point for every passing yard, 1 point for every rushing yard, 6 points for every passing touchdown, and 6 points for every rushing TD. So touchdowns are very important. Dual threat guys who can score on the ground are very important.
And it'll be interesting to know too, Andy, when you go, because like that's the reason why fantasy college football's never really caught on, I think, because the point system in the NFL, throwing or rushing for touchdowns is equally hard every week. Whereas in college football, you can, start somebody who's playing in a game where their team's a 58-point favorite and they're going to score a bunch more than a team that has a harder schedule. Like the schedules and the competition aren't equitable in college football. So it's kind of like, when you want to put together a list, because like, listen, we want to win the competition, right? But you also want to put out the sexiest list that makes the graphic on Twitter so it looks like you won immediately. And there's like a balance between those things, because if you post this later on and who won the fantasy draft in November or December, people don't get as fired up as, going into it. So like you want a solid looking list, but you're like the person that loses could like win in a blowout, like it. So I'm trying to
hopefully our guy, Jamie Cornwit on Twitter, it wants to keep score again this year, because that's been awesome the last couple of years. Great spreadsheets. They're beautiful. And so I'm hoping that Jamie wants to do this again. If not, we can keep score ourselves. It's no problem. But the way this is going to work is Ari and I are each going to pick a team today. So we'll go back and forth. Ari's going to get the first pick. We'll pick 10 guys each. And people will yell at us on the internet when we unveil the picks because they won't understand the concept. And they'll be like, I can't believe Andy doesn't think Arch Manning is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country. And they won't understand that I just couldn't take him. That's why he's not on the list.
Whoever makes the graphic needs to write draft in it to help us out.
We do, but it doesn't. It still doesn't help. I mean, when I put out my top Big 12 quarterbacks, I had a Miami fan mad because he thought it was a national list.
Yeah.
He noted they're all in the Big 12. How could you say that this is the best 10 in the country? So this is what we're dealing with. But after we do ours, so on Tuesday's show, producer River will then get to pick 10 quarterbacks from everyone who's left. Last year, he didn't stand a chance. I think this year
he could win this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate you giving me the first pick, because there's a thread to be, needled here, which is you're not necessarily going for the person you think is going to be the overall best. In fact, I think I might have to pass on the person who I think is going to be the overall best player to try to find the player that's most productive. And that's when do you pick your G5 guy? You would think that, automatically you're going to pick your G5 guy at the end, but it's like, no, if you have a G5 player who's playing, for instance, like Liberty's quarterback, if they play an easy schedule and they're up and away more talented than everybody, and they're going to be a 30-point favorite every week, then obviously touchdowns for the quarterback come a little bit easier than they would for DJ Lagway. You could even make the case for the G5 quarterback if you go for him. Not saying any names, but as we go into the draft, could be the number one overall pick if you're trying to win. So that's
right, because there could be a G5 quarterback who puts up just absurd numbers. I do want to point out, I don't know if this guy's going to get picked, but Western Kentucky's quarterback's name is Maverick McIver.
Yeah,
Maverick McIver.
That also sounds
man was
like
born to play QB.
Does that sound like an 80s sitcom?
Maverick McIver?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's not an 80s sitcom. That's an 80s hour-long drama. Well, it's MacGyver. Like, Maverick McIver would be the quarterback who can create a touchdown out of a piece of string and baking powder.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. Okay. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready. So I intentionally gave you the first pick because I think this is really hard. Like breaking the seal on this thing is difficult, and I didn't know where to go. So I want you to kind of lead me here.
Okay. I'm gonna throw you for a loop.
Okay.
My first pick's Cade Klubnik.
Dang it.
I don't know where you were going here, but Klubnik is the touchdowns.
He's going to put up big numbers because he's going to throw them and run for them. That's
and I
a
think
good
Clemson's going to be in a lot of games that they're winning comfortably. But he threw for a lot of touchdowns last year in a season in which people thought he didn't play very well at times, or that he didn't reach his pure potential. And also, he unlocked the running aspect because the running aspect is a huge deal here. And I know the scoring system isn't going to take total yards into account, right?
It is. You get one point per passing yard and 1 point per rushing yard.
I misspoke. I meant to say it's going to take total yards into account, not. I misspoke. And that's a huge deal for this because he might break off an 80-yard run. I mean, we saw him do it, 40, 50
against Pitt,
4 or 5 times last year. So.
43 touchdowns total for Cade Klubnik last year. He threw for 36. He ran for 7.
Right. So, and we're expecting a better, more efficient version of him this year against a schedule that I think is quite manageable. So,
because I was hoping I could sneak Cade Klubnik in as my first or second round pick.
Okay. So I get it. It's a good start.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a great start. And look, you're going to get yelled at on social media for that pick.
I know.
Although I've seen a lot of rankings this year where Cade Klubnik is number 1. And
I mean, it's a production draft. So that's where I'm at with it. And I don't know if you would have taken him right here in this spot if I didn't, but I didn't want to leave that up because now I'm playing this. I think I know who the next 2 or 3 quarterbacks off the board are, and I'm still going to be able to get one of the 2.
So I'm going to take a risk here.
Okay.
I'm going to take a risk on health. Because I need this guy to be healthy. Actually, I need this guy to be healthy, and his coach needs this guy to be healthy.
I know.
I just lose this thing if he's not healthy. His coach might get fired if he's not healthy.
Yeah.
I'm going with DJ Lagway at number 1.
Yeah. So I'm happy about my pick then, Andy, because I wasn't going to take Lagway number 1 because of health, which means that the other option for my first pick is still available. So this
also feels good to me because I'm gonna get somebody I really want in the second round, knowing this. But here's the thing about Lagway: if he is healthy, he's gonna throw for a bunch of touchdowns. But he's 240 pounds. He's gonna be useful on the goal line
for sure. And like if Florida unlocks some of that big body Tim Tebow goal line package stuff, you're gonna get some point. Now,
although if he's fragile, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna hand off to somebody. So
I just like. Maybe this is a good opportunity to talk about this. Is it fair to view DJ Lagway as fragile going into the 2025 season?
Yes.
Physically?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. Because when we equate fragile with not being tough, I don't think he's not tough. I think he's very tough. He played on one leg against LSU last year. Like, you go watch that game, he was clearly limited and played really well. So it's not a matter of toughness. It's just a matter of, will his body do what he needs it to do?
Yeah. No. Toughness and fragility are very different. You can be very tough, but if your body doesn't hold up, your body doesn't hold up. And we've seen a lot of good players over the years. I mean, even in basketball where they're incredibly talented, it's like, Greg Oden was a very good basketball player, but his body just couldn't handle the wear and tear.
So with DJ Lagway, we've had multiple instances this offseason where he's had to kind of rest, shut things down for soft tissue stuff. So that's your fear. That's your fear there. But also you have what you saw at the end of last season where every game he started and finished, they won. And they were playing LSU, Ole Miss at the end of the season, and he raised their level of play so much. So I think he can put up big numbers. He's got to stay healthy. Ari, your number 2 pick.
Arch Manning.
All right, I knew you were going here, and I'm so happy you did, because now that gives me great options with my number 2 pick. But
I think Arch Manning should have maybe been the number 1 pick, but in a productions draft, like there is virtually 0% chance he's not productive in some way. Like, I mean, the fact that he has the running aspect too, he is going to produce a lot. He's going to produce a lot. They've got really good receivers. Quinn Ewers last year threw for more than 30 touchdowns, and I think he missed 3 games. You add in the running aspect to this, like he's gonna put up numbers, dude. Like I feel very comfortable with this. And I
actually had Quinn Ewers on my team last year. He was one of the least productive quarterbacks I had.
Oh, really? From a statistical standpoint?
Yeah.
Interesting. That scares me a little bit, but also too, he missed some time. So I don't know.
He did. He missed a couple games. So that's part of it.
But I feel you took a major risk at number 1. And yours is a boom or bust, right? Like, I mean,
right, correct.
Yours is going to be like, well, if you're right, if we're right, because we both love him, you're going to look great. But
now I'm going to go into the lane of let's get some guaranteed production.
Okay, I can't wait to hear who the person is that you absolutely had to have.
My number 2. It's not, because I was there. There were 2 or 3 guys I'd be very happy with right here. I'm taking Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. Garrett Nussmeier is going to throw for 1 million touchdowns this year.
Man, that's insane. He is. He's going to have a great year. I cannot believe that's where you went, though, right here.
You thought I was going to go Lenora Sellers, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why. Lenoris didn't throw for that many TDs last year and actually didn't run for as many as you think. So Nussmeier is just going to be a volume shooter. Like that offense... And maybe Joe Sloan will change their OC, but that offense tended to abandon the run last year at any sign of any close game and just chuck it like crazy. So Garrett Nussmeier is going to throw for a lot of touchdowns. That's the reason
why I wouldn't have gone here, because I think LSU is going to power through that by learning from what they bailed on last year.
But he's still going to throw. But even if they learn to balance the offense better, he's still going to throw for a bunch of touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing, too. It's like Lenora Sellers is a more exciting player, but will he be a more productive player? Like, I think
I'm just imagining Garrett Nussmeier just back there throwing BBs. Boo, 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 touchdown. That's I'm hope. Now, he had 29 TD passes last year. I'm hoping he's into the 30s this year.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I think that the LSU is probably going to make the playoff this year, if I had to guess. So if they do, it's going to be because he goes insane. Now I'm not convinced. I think their defense is going to be better this year. I think they did a really good job in the portal. We're going to see what they do with Perkins, but it looks like they've got Perkins doing the thing that he does best now. So I think he's not going to have to. Like, I don't think Nussmeier is going to get roped into as many shootouts. It's maybe not as bad as Jaden Daniels in 23, because Jaden Daniels in 23. There was no choice but for him to just blow up. By the way, he was on my team in 23. But that defense was so awful. I think this LSU defense will be better. It will not force Garrett Nussmeier to have to throw for 500 yards a game. But I think there will be some situations where he probably does have to do that. My next pick, Andy, I feel like I have to do something because I want to play defense, but there's another player that I want more than this person. So I'm going to take the person that we already mentioned, Lenora Sellers, and then I'm going to hope that you don't go for the person that I want with your next pick, because I feel like if I leave Lenora Sellers out there, you'll take him next.
Lenora Sellers is a tempting one, especially in this format, because while he only ran for 7 touchdowns last year, I could easily see him running for 15 touchdowns and improving his passing touchdown number.
Yeah, and he was injured too at times last year. So, we need to make sure that, but I think that DJ Lagway and Lenora Sellers are very similar in where they're headed in this year. You took Lagway in the first round. I got Sellers in the third. Like, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a risk too, because I'm not sure that, I mean, they play a tough schedule. Going with SEC quarterbacks at the top of this could end up burying you because it's a very competitive, deep physical conference. And I feel like you could, go for somebody in the Big Ten who puts up a bunch of numbers on a crappy team, which may be foreshadowing giving your facial expression. But
what if I chose someone on a Big Ten good team?
There are two options there, and I was going to let you make the first pick of that, and then I was going to get the second one. So,
yep. I will take Julian Sayin from Ohio State. I will take the guy who gets to throw to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate.
Good for you. Yeah, and it'll be good. I don't know that he runs at all. So
not worried about the running at this point.
But Jeremiah Smith,
he's got a lot of dudes to throw to.
17 touchdowns this year. So that's a pretty good layup pick. But I'm so happy that you didn't take the person that I wanted.
Really? Oh, this is good.
This is not who I wanted. I wouldn't have taken Julian Sayin.
Well, let's talk about Sayin, because Sayin is a bit of a risk. He is a first-time starting quarterback. Any of these first-time starting quarterbacks, you have to worry about the possibility that they just get benched.
Yeah.
Like they don't perform as well as they're supposed to.
Right. I don't know that I would worry about Ohio State benching their. When's the last time Ohio State benched their quarterback in the middle of the year? I guess Kyle McCord in the third game, but I don't know. I thought he was injured.
No, he wasn't really benched because he came back. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to go back to 2015 where Urban Meyer couldn't pick between JT Barrett and Cardell Jones.
Yeah, so we're talking about a decade ago, and that was the most poorly managed. And also, too, both played in a national championship run the year before. So I don't know that I wouldn't worry about that. In fact, I think that this is a pretty...
I also think Ryan Day would have gone and gotten somebody if he wasn't confident that Julian Sayin was his dude.
The question I have is whether or not that should have been the first Big Ten player off the board at quarterback, because there is another one. Okay, but you left my dude. And listen, as we get down into the draft and we start drafting players from similar conferences, we can go back and talk about Julian Sayin and why you picked him first and why I wouldn't have. But I'm taking John Mateer with my fourth pick. I think that
you are the one who said, careful taking all these SEC quarterbacks. And here you go with a third SEC quarterback.
Andy, I watched this highlight tape like 4 or 5 days ago. Oklahoma's offense used to be really, really good. I know there's been a coaching regime change, but what was Oklahoma's entire calling card my entire adult life was insane offensive video game numbers. I think there's going to be an improved offensive line, a offensive coordinator at the helm that knows how to call an offense, and one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the country. I think from a statistical standpoint, even if Oklahoma's not very good, they're going to have to be in games where they score. I think he's going to run. He's going to extend plays. I think he's going to have very good statistics. And I've actually thought that Oklahoma might be a pretty good team overall, but I think that I'm pretty comfortable with his production potential here.
You may know this off the top of your head. I just looked it up, so I'm curious if you know. How many total touchdowns did John Mateer account for at Washington State last year?
I know he threw for 30 touchdowns, right? I don't know how many he ran for.
He threw for 29. He 29. Ran for 50, so 44.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He ran, well, it was 44 total. We're bad at math podcast, but yes. Yeah, 29 and 15. If he does that, you're going to kick my ass.
I think in the fourth round, that's a pretty good value pick. I don't know that he'll account for 44, but I think he'll account for 35.
Yeah,
35 is I think a pretty good number.
He's the one who I feel like can truly blow up in terms of touchdown production, and we'll see how it goes because he's gonna have to play some really good defenses. That's the thing. I just don't know, given the defenses he's got to play, if he can come close to those numbers.
It's the hardest schedule in the country. So, I understand that there's a risk there, but you took a risk with your first pick. I took a major risk with my fourth.
And that's the thing. Like, if either one of those hits, we should be feeling really good.
Also, I don't think we want to have potential Heisman finalists off of our lists. You gotta. Like, I'm also very vain, and I want people to think I won. So going into it, like I want to put together a list that makes you look bad immediately. Like that's also part of my goal. I hope you know that. Like I'm
I'm trying to do the same thing to you. And
okay.
Listen, it's all politics are local. Basically, whichever one of us picks somebody's favorite quarterback, we're going to be the genius and the other person's going to be the idiot. So that's just how this is going to go. My next pick, first Big 12 quarterback off the board, Sam Leavitt from Arizona State. Cam Scatteraboo leaving opens more rushing touchdowns for Leavitt, who is a good runner. He only ran for 5 last year. He threw for 24 and ran for 5. I think he runs for more this year, and I actually probably think he throws for more this year too.
Yeah. I think that is a oversight on my part. I think that you could have taken Leavitt in with either of the last 2 spots. The only thing that I fear is a regression to the mean for Arizona State this year. And that's the number one thing that Kenny Dillingham has been trying to combat in terms of this offseason of like, yeah, we did a good job last year, but we don't want to be in a position where we just return back to the pack and people forget about us. And I fear with a target on their back that Arizona State might be in danger of doing that. So, but I think that Sam Leavitt is unquestionably the best quarterback in the Big 12, and that's an offensive numbers conference. And I really like where your head's at. And
so Cam Scatteraboo ran for 21 touchdowns last year. I think Sam Leavitt's going to assume a few of those.
So I've got one that's kind of similar to this. I'm veering away from the SEC. And this is going to be where people think I'm off the deep end a little bit, but this is a statistical. I want to amass some stats here, and I'm going to go Kevin Jennings from SMU. That's a player. That's a player that we don't talk about.
Oh, you know what? I said you had all SEC. I forgot you had Klubnik first. So you didn't do all SEC.
Yeah, right. No, but the reason why Klubnik was my first pick is because he was productive and not in the SEC. But then, also too, I've got 3 players in the SEC who I think could conceivably be Heisman finalists. But Kevin Jennings would not be, I think, one of my top 10 picks for overall best quarterback in the country. I think that from a statistical standpoint in the ACC, he's going to run all over the place. He did it last year. He's a year more comfortable. He learned from the play. I think he's going to be in a position to have a highly productive season, and he's a dual threat. So I'm trying to amass stats, and this seems to be like a layup pick for that in the 5th round.
Well, and he's one that I think we remember probably too much about his last 2 games and not enough about his first 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the first half of the ACC championship was terrible for him, although he was awesome in the second half. And then the playoff game against Penn State was a complete meltdown. So I think we're probably overvaluing that aspect of it and undervaluing what he's going to be like week to week. And I think you made a good choice here. I do think this is a very good pick because he's gonna put up big numbers. Now it's interesting. He only ran for 5 touchdowns last year. Threw for 23, ran for 5, but we'll see how much that changes.
And you're
this
also
year. But
you're also
if you get that, that's great at this pick.
And you also have to try to project a little bit on second-year starter jumps too, right? Like it's not just about last year. Like what if Kevin Jennings?
He didn't have an off season as the starter. I mean, he supplanted Preston Stone early in the season, so it wasn't like they spent the whole. Rhett Lashley didn't spend the whole offseason designing the offense around Kevin Jennings like he did this year.
And there's a lot of players I think I would take to lead my team over him at this point. I'm looking around at my board, and I'm not necessarily seeing people that I know are going to be highly, highly, highly productive. Guaranteed. I think this is a guarantee that he'll be productive at the very least.
So I am going to dip back into the realm of first-year starters at their teams this year, who I think, because of the talent around them, are going to be very productive. I'm going to go with Oregon's Dante Moore.
Yeah,
this offense
we're
almost
flying
guarantees
to Vegas
production.
on Monday, and Andy's been he's rolling the dice a little today, huh?
That's right. And I'm fine with that because I trust Will Stein, the offensive coordinator, if he thinks Dante Moore's his guy. Because, again, Oregon's never been afraid to go get somebody if they need somebody. They were doing that before the transfer portal existed. So I think they would have done that if they didn't think Dante Moore was the guy. And I think the talent around him, even with Evan Stewart hurt, I think he's got enough talent around him to put up incredibly big numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, by the way, I'll point out, so Dylan Gabriel, who's probably not as good of an athlete as Dante Moore, he's a pretty good athlete. Like, he was supposed to be an option quarterback before UCF signed him. But Dylan Gabriel had 30 passing TDs and 7 rushing TDs last year. I think we could see Dante Moore put up that level of number.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm happy you took him because I'm going to go ahead and take the sleeper of the Big Ten. I'm going Drew Aller here. Drew Aller.
The sleeper?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like,
the most experienced quarterback on potentially the best team, the sleeper.
Yeah. So you're adding a receiver into the mix for the first time for a quarterback that threw for 25 touchdowns each of the last 2 years, or 24 and 25. And he also rushed for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns a year ago.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Like, he's a really big dude. And you want to talk about some of that goal line stuff. Like, Penn State also always seems to, kick the crap out of the teams they should beat the crap out of. And like, he has some, like, there's some games where Penn State's up 42-10 and people like just forget about that. Like, this is a tier 1 quarterback. This could be the first quarterback taken off the board. And if you want to talk about production, now that Trevor Pena's in the mix, they got the kid from USC coming in. They've got Luke Reynolds at tight end. Like, they have some, and I know that this might be a little bit of a tricky pick because of the running back duo, but Drew Aller is going to put up numbers this year, dude. Like, I think people think he stinks for some reason. He does not stink. And I will gladly take him as the 3rd quarterback off the board in the Big Ten.
I'm going to take the 4th quarterback off the board.
I know who it is. I know who it is. You're taking Mendoza.
Fernando Mendoza, baby.
God damn it. That was going to be my next pick.
So if you stayed up late last year watching Cal, Fernando Mendoza did not have a lot of help. Was a pretty good QB at Cal. He goes into an offense where Curtis Rourke threw for a bunch of touchdowns last year. He threw for 29 touchdowns. Elijah Surratt is back, their best receiver. They have a lot of talent on this team. They have some good offensive linemen coming back. Fernando Mendoza wound up in a really good situation. The schedule is probably harder for Indiana this year, but it's not insurmountable. And so if their offense is as good, and remember, same coordinator, Mike Shanahan, not that one, is still the coordinator at Indiana. Tino Sunseri left. He was the QB's coach. He left, and he's now running the UCLA offense. But they still have most of the same coaching staff, a lot of the same players. I love the way this works. I think Mendoza comes in there and lights it up.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good pick. And like the fact that Indiana just like ran up the score a bunch last year. And they have one of the easier non-conference schedules, which I think you need to take into account. I think you're going to have that's probably even a better pick than Aller. I think I might have made a mistake there.
Kurt Signetti likes to make a point, and Fernando Mendoza may help him make some points this year.
Yes, I think that's fair. And Curtis Rourke was injured and still had those numbers.
Right.
Okay. So there is somebody I'm obsessed with from a video game number standpoint. I'm not going to take because injury scares the crap out of me. But I am going to take somebody from the Big 12. Who
was it? Okay, is Jalen Daniels the one you're not taking? Yeah. Okay.
Jalen Daniels is what?
Who are you taking?
I'm trying to figure out whether I should go for a layup here of guaranteed production or if I should go for sexiness speculative. I'm going Devin Dampier. I don't want him on. I want him on my team. Devin Dampier is somebody that we don't know quite enough about. I think this is going to be the type. I'm picking a player with my 7th pick that I think at the end of the year you're going to go, holy shit, he got him in the 7th round.
I was so hoping you would go somebody else because Devin Dampier was my next one.
Okay, well, I'll trade you Dampier for Mendoza.
Nope.
Devin Dampier is somebody I think has a chance to be really good, and I almost went somebody else here. I think my next 2 picks might be from this conference. I don't know why I'm telling you my board ideas, but there are players in this conference that you will get guaranteed production from that that you can feel good about. I'm going with this sexy speculative pick. And I think that I have a chance to be really, really right or really, really wrong. But on my Twitter board on Monday, when this is up, I think I'm going to be happy he's on it.
Devin Dampier is the potential. He's a New Mexico transfer, for those who don't know. The potential here is for a ton of rushing touchdowns. And then, the comparison, like the ideal comparison, what you would want out of this Utah season, taking Devin Dampier, you want Nick Marshall at Auburn, essentially. That level of running ability, that's scary in the run game, so that there's 9 men in the box and he's throwing to wide open receivers. That's what Nick Marshall played corner in the NFL, but was a very effective college quarterback who took his team to a national title game. So that's the hope for Devin Dampier, who is not that great of a thrower, but if he's throwing to wide open people, you're feeling pretty good about it. He threw at New Mexico last year. He ran for 19 touchdowns. He threw for 12. You'll take 31 touchdowns at any rate. But if this guy, what if he runs for 20 and throws for 20?
It's a major risk with the passing, and I understand that.
But this is a much better offensive line than he played behind last year. I realize the competition level goes up, but he's got 2 potential first-round tackles in front of him. Like, this is a good pick. I'm very mad.
But there are 3 other quarterbacks in the Big 12 who are legitimately like NFL prospects that I have not taken, that for sure will put up 28 to 30 passing.
It's a gamble.
And so I'm gambling a gamble here. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to roll the dice on another Big 12 quarterback. Rivers, show that graphic of the starters in the Big 12. So right now, here's my issue. I have to decide who's gonna compile the most touchdowns between Avery Johnson from Kansas State, Sawyer Robertson from Baylor, Josh Hoover from TCU, Rocco Beck from Iowa State, Baron Morton from Texas Tech. All of those guys could potentially put up big numbers this year.
Do you want me to tell you who I almost took just now? Because I'm probably not going to take him now. I almost took Josh Hoover. Go look at his numbers from last year.
His numbers are great.
Yeah.
You know whose numbers were equally good or maybe even better? The guy I'm going to take, Sawyer Robertson from Baylor.
Yeah. Well, also, too, and I don't know if part of the reason why, but the most productive passing offense last year in the Big 12 was Colorado. So you also have a speculative play there, too.
Right. But my problem with Colorado is Deion Sanders bringing Julian Lewis to media days made me go, could Julian Lewis take over as a starter at some point this season from Caden Salter? And if that's going to happen, then I don't want to pick a guy who might not be playing the whole season. Sawyer Robertson should be Baylor's quarterback all season if he's healthy. So, and he put up really good numbers last year, and especially the second half of last year. And remember, he was not originally supposed to be the starting quarterback at Baylor. DeQuan Finn was. And so Baylor really took off when Sawyer Robertson got comfortable. And remember, it was Jake Spavital's first year as OC. This is his second year. So now they had the whole offseason to work together. I think this could be really good. Sawyer Robertson, 28 passing touchdowns, 8.3 yards per attempt. He threw for 3,000 yards. He's going to put up big numbers in this offense if all goes well. He had 4 rushing touchdowns too. So I would take that. If he just gives me that 32 touchdowns, I'll take it. But if he gets better, we got something cooking.
Yeah, I like that pick. And I think I'm going to veer away from the Big 12 and give you another Big 12 guy with your next pick and just let you be the Big 12 king. But I'm going to go Damon Williams from Washington.
That's
another
a good choice.
Speculative pick.
That's a good choice.
I think that he's going to be highly productive this year. He's a good runner, very explosive player. We don't have stats to fall back on. Didn't play much last year. But in the glimpses that we showed, I think the Devin Dampier, Damon Williams 1-2 gambles, I think one of them is going to hit.
So my next one might sound like a little bit of a gamble, but I want to just trust in this coach because he seems like he knows what he's doing here. I'm going to go back to the ACC.
Okay.
And I'm going to take Darian Mensah from Duke because this is a guy who put up great numbers at Tulane last year. He's going to a team where Malik Murphy threw for 26 touchdowns last year and then was immediately in the portal. And we figured out why like 3 days later when Darian Mensah said he was going to Duke. They are clearly upgrading a quarterback here. This is going to be very interesting because they were very good last year. Like, should have beaten SMU, won 9 games. I think Duke could be in for a big year. And like, they went out and got the quarterback they wanted. Darian Mensah, slightly behind John Mateer, but probably the second most desirable QB in the portal this year.
Yeah. Don't hate that. I actually kind of love it. But also I'm thankful. I get
by the way, we each have 2 picks left, and one of them has to be a G5 player.
I know. I'm doing the thing that I said I wasn't going to do, but this is a podcast, and I'm like struggling between trying to win the draft, but also trying to be sexy, and I don't know what to do. I'm really struggling.
You may have to be a little sexy to win the draft, but that also includes the risk of you could lose because you try to be sexy.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
I'm just going to take the sex. I'm taking Bryce Underwood.
That's a good shit. It's a good pick
except
we know what that offense looks like. They had a first-round draft pick when they won the national championship, and he didn't have to put up big numbers.
I want
him. You don't need to when that offense is working.
I want him on my list. I don't know if
you
I'm
just want
lose.
people to say that guy knows ball.
Yeah, you're right about the McCarthy stuff, but
who knows? Though they might need it more. They might need the passing game more with Bryce Underwood. They certainly can't be any worse throwing the ball than they were last year. So
yeah, I mean, if they do that little hook and ladder, and he can pick up a few 80-yard touchdown passes. I don't know that little trick play.
You think the trick play for the?
I mean, listen, I could have taken Josh Hoover. I could have taken Caden Salter. This
is where River may kick our ass, by the way.
Because like River's going to go in here and just like go pick up like all these players that are going to be guaranteed production, and like he's not going to worry about like all the different names. There's a lot of names that you could have taken here. Gio Lopez is somebody who stood out to me.
I thought about it.
Miller Moss is somebody who stands out.
Thought about that one too. Even though all the Louisville fans are mad because I left Miller Moss off of my top 10 ACC QBs, and they may be right. Like, he may be awesome this year. I just thought it was a red flag that you were the starter for Lincoln Riley and you didn't have a great year. Like,
yeah,
because you're going to tell me Jeff Brom is a QB whisperer. Well, Lincoln Riley's a more accomplished QB whisperer, and it didn't work with him. So that's my issue. But the Bryce Underwood thing, like, they have to be able to throw the ball better. So we'll see. I don't know that he has the receivers that he needs right now. That's the part that concerns me more than anything. And philosophically, if they're doing what they want, he's not putting up massive numbers through the air.
Here's my thought process on it. We anticipate that Michigan's offense is going to be much better this year. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why?
Because of Bryce Underwood.
Bingo.
There's a hook and ladder.
How it looks.
That's more of a flea flicker.
Why it looks that way. I don't know how it's going to play out. I just want him on my list, and I'm going to let it go. I want to be a part of the Bryce Underwood
hive.
Here.
Yeah, that's fine. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I
know too that we only have one more P5 quarterback to take, so it's kind of also just kind of a sexiness factor to it. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad pick.
This is like you picking the Heisman Trophy winner based on story as opposed to the best player. I am going to make my group of 5 pick now. Navy's Blake Horvath. And I realize I just got through saying philosophically, I worry about Bryce Underwood.
He threw pretty successfully for a triple option quarterback last year, didn't he?
Blake Horvath ran for 17 TDs, which is the number you'd expect for a good option quarterback. He threw for 13, though. I will take 30 touchdowns 30 touchdowns will work for me.
How many did he throw for?
13.
That's a really good pick. That 44 touchdowns could have been the first pick in the draft.
Oh, he had 30 total. He ran for 17, threw for 13.
I thought you said he ran for 30.
No, with my 9th round pick, I'll take 30. If I get 30 touchdowns out of my 9th round pick, I'm winning.
Yeah. I think I like your pick. You know who I'm taking? Kind of an off the radar one. And I didn't know like much about him other than I think Southern Miss is just going to kick people's asses on it all year. I'm just going to take Braylon Braxton because like the entire
good choice.
Team, do you see what I'm
saying? The
whole
Marshall team basically went to Southern Miss to play for Charles Huff.
I think Braylon Braxton's going to have a really productive year in an unexpected way. So that's my G5 layup. I didn't think I was in danger of losing him. That's why I waited till the 10th round.
I like that. That's a great pick. I like that a lot because and we've talked about this on the show. We talked about it when we had Colin Wilson on the show. Like the Southern Miss in the Sun Belt is such an interesting situation because Marshall won the Sun Belt last year. They were not going to renew Charles Huff. He goes to Southern Miss. A lot of the players from Marshall followed him to Southern Miss. So they're gonna already know what they're doing right off the bat. It'll depend on what he put around them, but that's a very good pick.
Yeah. And I don't know. You've got one more. I can't wait to see who you've got.
I do have one more. I was just trying to figure out where to go with this thing because I'm trying to find somebody who could put up just absurd numbers. You know what? I'm going to go with the guy I like the best. The guy who has the most aura. The guy who just makes his team better.
Is this you beat Diego?
Diego Pavia, baby. Give me Diego Pavia. I just want him on my team.
Okay. I'm happy that we both have I just want him on my team person.
Your Bryce Underwood pick?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Bryce Underwood pick might end up losing me this thing, but Diego Pavia he runs.
Diego Pavia threw for 20 and ran for 8 last year.
Yeah.
If this offense is slightly better, he could, do a little bit better. I can live with that.
Yeah. So to set it up, River gets to do his list with the benefit of time and not having to react to other people.
Right.
People that
I think River can beat us. Like let's talk about who's available to River.
That's what I wanted to do. So here are the players that stand out to me that I could have drafted and didn't. Deshaun Purdy at Wake Forest, I think, is a good speculative pick. Mm-hmm. Carson Beck, Gio Lopez,
CJ Carr.
CJ Carr was not taken. Caden Salter was not taken. Rocco Becht was not taken. Josh Hoover was not taken. Jalen Daniels and Avery Johnson both were not taken. He can go get
Gunnar Stockton, Austin Simmons. I should have taken Austin Simmons somewhere.
Yeah, Austin Simmons should have been taken. Mark Gronowski should have been taken. Dylan Raiola was not taken. Taylon Green, like him or not, was not taken. He's a productive player. Marcel Reed was not taken.
Nico was not taken. I don't think River's going to take Nico.
Maddox Madsen from Boise State was not taken in the G5. Malik Murphy wasn't taken. He's got some dudes to choose
Owen
from.
McCown at UTSA is one to watch.
Jaden Maava might be a productive statistical player this year. That was somebody that we could have taken. So
Jaden Maava was my fear on him was what if Husan Longstreet comes in and is the guy and takes over.
Luke Altmaier was not taken.
Luke Altmaier, that's another big one. With Luke Altmaier, it's a case of they're still going to probably try to run the ball a lot. I don't know that he's going to be the one running in the touchdowns. So
he had 4 rushing touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you get 5 just by being a default Big Ten
right. If you're a big dude, not if you're super tiny, but like Luke Altmaier's a big dude. If you're a big dude and you're going to occasionally either sneak it in or bootleg it in. Yeah, you're right about that. This was probably a huge.
I think we made a mistake with Austin Simmons.
Luke Altmaier and Austin Simmons, I think, are our 2 biggest omissions
Yeah, I wish I could go back in time and change my Bryce Underwood pick to Austin Simmons, to be honest. But I'll live with this. I think that I'm happy with my list.
I think you scared me out of the SEC by pointing out that, the grind and the defenses. And I was like, I don't want to go too SEC heavy because I might lose some of these guys. But
scared myself.
The Austin Simmons thing, that's a big mistake on my part.
Yeah. So do you want to review ours before we get out of here? I'm going to go.
Yeah, let's do it.
For people listening in audio form, I got Klubnik, Manning, Sellers, Mateer, Kevin Jennings, Drew Aller, Devin Dampier, Damon Williams, Bryce Underwood, and Braylon Braxton from Southern Miss.
I probably should have been keeping track more.
I can send you the lists.
Yes, please send me mine because I've been reacting so much, and that's the problem. Like I didn't pick first, so every pick of mine was a reaction to one of yours, which is how I make mistakes. Hi, River.
Andy, I can read off your list for you real quick.
Yes, thank you.
You got DJ Lagway from Florida, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Julian Sayin from Ohio State, Sam Levitt from Arizona State, Dante Moore from Oregon, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, Sawyer Robertson from Baylor, Darian Mensah from Duke, Blake Horvath from Navy, and Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt.
I'm kicking your asses.
You got more. I gambled more than you.
I am kicking your asses. I know it. Actually, I am very worried about you gambling correctly or about River we left too much on the table for River. Because River's going to have Austin Simmons. He's going to have CJ Carr. He's going to have Luke Altmaier.
You know what this is? I play fantasy baseball. I don't know if you know that about me. And I'm in a league that's very expensive.
But you do something that involves a game of chance?
Yeah.
And skill?
And money and gambling?
Yeah.
And the boring team wins every year. It's the team that has everybody hitting 275 with 20 home runs and 80 RB. It's not the people
that's going to be Rivers' team.
It's Josh not the people that have the sexy names. It's the people who have it's the most consistent team top to bottom that has players who show up every day and play well. So
the best question though is will River take Joey Aguilar because his heart tells him to?
Yeah, he might take Joey Aguilar. He might take Nico. I don't know.
He's not going to take Nico. We know that.
But if he takes Nico, he can bet with his hedge his heart. If Nico has a great year, then he looks good, and if he has a bad year, then at least he had a bad year. I don't know, but that was fun. I enjoyed going through it.
I suspect, especially our podcast listeners, that there was lots of yelling at your radio in your car during the show. A lot.
Yeah. And we left a lot of really good players from teams that should be very good off the board. And the one that I really do regret is Austin Simmons. That guy should have been taken.
I remember looking at it before we went in saying, make sure you take Austin Simmons.
Yeah.
And I got lost in the sauce.
Yeah. Let the games play. We're starting in a month, baby. We'll see how it goes.
That's the thing. If anything, the fact that we did this and that River can pick a team that probably can beat ours tells you how many fun quarterbacks there are in the country this year. Like, hey, River, you got that week one graphic? He's going to put up this list of week one games. I know I did this the other day. I know I read it off, but I want to do it again just because it excites me. It's so much fun. And
we're 5 weeks away from football. 4 weeks away from week 0, right? We're a month away.
We're Farmageddon, the greatest import in the history of imports.
Yeah.
Week 1. I'm not going to go down the list as it's written. I'm going to go down chronologically. So Georgia Tech, Colorado. I believe is that a Thursday game?
I think that's a Thursday game.
I think that's a Thursday game. Auburn, Baylor's a Friday game for sure. And then on Saturday, Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Florida State, LSU, Clemson, on Tennessee and Syracuse. On Sunday, Virginia Tech and South Carolina. On Sunday night, Notre Dame at Miami. Holy crap. So if we're going to quarterbacks, Arch Manning versus Julian Sayin, Ty Simpson, who we didn't pick, River. Ty Simpson. Now, the curious thing with Ty Simpson is, does he wind up being the quarterback all year? Does Keelan Russell come in? But Ty Simpson can put up huge numbers. So Ty Simpson versus Thomas Castellanos, Garrett Nussmeier versus Cade Klubnik, CJ Carr versus Carson Beck, Joey Aguilar versus, we think, Steve Angeli? Maybe Ricky Collins? Jackson Arnold versus Sawyer Robertson. Haynes King. River can get Haynes King.
Haynes King didn't have a very productive year last year, but he missed time, right?
He missed time.
Yeah.
And he runs so much that's possibly a problem.
Yeah, that's why I didn't take him. I went and looked at his numbers because I wanted to get him late, and I looked at his numbers, and they were not as good as I would have thought.
So Haynes King against, we think, Caden Salter. We think. And then Kyron Drones versus Lenora Sellers. And also, want to go to Monday night, TCU and Josh Hoover against Gio Lopez in North Carolina. And, oh, by the way, North Carolina is coached by Bill Belichick. Holy crap, Bill Belichick is coaching in college football.
And the one thing that I want to tell River, even though you're not drafting against anybody, still list them in order in which you would want them. Because don't just right. You want his list to still reflect the best next 10. You just because you can do it out of order doesn't mean you should. So I'm excited. We'll break his list down on Tuesday.
Yeah, tomorrow's show, River will reveal his team, and then you guys can decide whose team you think's going to win. Which I don't know. I knew last year I was winning. This year I don't know that. I think this is going to be.
I think we're going to know
a lot of fun
a month into the season who's winning. But I wanted to put up a good fight for you. And part of me wanted to just do the boring thing and just take Josh Hoover 10 times, but I went with the exciting podcast list, and we'll see what happens. If I could go back in time, I would have taken Bryce off and put Austin Simmons on, but you know what? Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm part of the Bryce Underwood sweepstakes, one of the most compelling storylines in the country, and I get to have a little skin in the game, so I'm always up for that.
This is going to be very exciting. So tomorrow's show, River reveals his team. We will preview Big Ten Media Days, which we will be at in Las Vegas. In fact, Ari and I will be in Vegas for tomorrow's show. And then we also have ACC Media Days running simultaneously. So we got Clemson, got North Carolina, got Louisville, which should be a better team that has an easier schedule than last year. Got SMU. A lot to talk about this week. Going to be fun. We'll talk to you tomorrow.